So in this video, we're going to be talking about solving multi-step equations. So now we're getting into those that are getting a little bit more complicated. So if you remember back from yesterday, we had something called the distributive property, and that's what we're going to have to do whenever we see these parentheses. So my first step when I get to something like this is I am going to go ahead and distribute my 2 into that parentheses. So when I do that, I do 2 times 1 to get 2. 2 times negative x to get negative 2x. So I'm just multiplying it with each of those inside. And then from here, I'm going to solve it like normal. So I'm going to subtract that 2 from both sides. Negative 8 minus 2, I get negative 10. And then to get rid of that negative 2, I divide both sides by negative 2. And then negative 10 divided by negative 2, I get positive 5. Okay, now for this one, here is where we see a different case. Normally I would say you have to get rid of that plus 5 up there. You need to get rid of whatever's being added or subtracted. This is the case when you don't do that. When you see this big fraction bar here, before I can do anything with this numerator, this top, I have to get rid of this bottom here. So my first step here is actually going to be to multiply both sides by 5. So I can get rid of that bottom. I'm going to undo the division first on that one. And then 7 times 5 is 35. And then now it looks like what we normally had. So now I want to get rid of that plus 5 first. (35 minus 5, I get 30. And then divide both sides by 2. Okay, so now let's look at ones that combine all of that. So here, my first step, again, I see parentheses, so I want to distribute first. So I'm going to distribute this. And now here's where I have to be careful. I have to make sure I look at whatever sign is in front of this number. So since there's a minus sign in front there, that means I'm actually distributing a negative 2. So I do negative 2 times y to get minus 2y. Negative 2 times negative 4 to get a positive 8. So make sure you pay attention to that sign. Okay, now I have this, and I see I have 2 y's here, so now I want to combine my like terms like what we did in that combining like terms video. And so I get 3y minus 2y is just y. And then last step is subtract 8 from both sides. And so I get that 5 is equal to y. Okay, go ahead and pause the video and try doing that next one on your own. Okay, this is the answer that you should have gotten. So my first step is I want to distribute that 4 on both sides. You could have also subtracted that 5 first. Either way is fine. And so when I distribute it, when I did 4 times 2d, I get 8d. 4 times negative 3, I get negative 12. Next, I combine my like terms. So I did 5 minus 12 to get that minus 7 there. And then I went on from there. And at the end, you could put this as a decimal. I went ahead and showed it as a decimal this time. Or you could have simplified this by dividing by 2 on top and bottom and getting that 11 over 4. I'd accept either answer. Okay, now let's look at this one. This one has a fraction on it. So let's try and do this one. So my first step, again, I want to move whatever's added or subtracted. So I'm going to subtract 3 from both sides to get rid of that addition. Here I decided to put that negative with the 2. You could have also put the negative with the 3. Either way is fine. And so now here I need to get rid of that fraction. And so you have multiple options here. You could go ahead and divide that fraction. We have learned dividing. I don't really like that way, but you can do it that way. Another way that you can do it, which it just takes a couple more steps but might be a little bit easier, is to go ahead and undo that division and multiplication. So I'm going to first undo that division of 3 by multiplying by 3 on both sides. And so those cancel. So all I'm left with is a negative 2n is equal to 18. And then now I can undo that multiplication. And so the reason why I'm able to do that is that this negative 2/3 n right here, that's the same thing as having negative 2n over 3. Both of those are equivalent. Okay, that's it for this video. You can go ahead and move on to the next one for application problems.